Hello and welcome to Chicken Bros. My name is David Heath.
And I am learning the language of rope.
And we're here to talk about the 2023 Christmas special of Doctor Who called The Church on Ruby Road, which is technically the first episode with the newest Doctor, Ncuti Gatwa, as the main role.
And I was excited for it, and I was not disappointed because not only did we get Shurigawa, who is slowly becoming my second favorite Doctor, like, David will always be my favorite, Ten will always be my favorite, but Shuri, holy crap, this dude is awesome. But, little did I know, his companion Ruby Sunday would absolutely steal my heart, and that. So this special opens with um it was Shooty narrating, right?
Yeah, it
Like
was Ncuti narrating. It was showing you Ruby the very night she was born, which was Christmas Eve, and her mother
she
or
was
parents, supposedly whoever, was dropping them off at the doorstep of a church.
on Ruby Road.
Yes, on Ruby Road, and that person just disappearing and never being heard from again. And it
Ooh.
shows Ncuti in the TARDIS exiting there, crying for some reason, and then it kicks off into the intro, and you go, "Oh, that's interesting."
That theme, awesome.
Yes.
I heard the full theme on I think it was either Instagram or Facebook, and my favorite part of the Doctor Who theme has always been the middle eight, and in this version, oh, it's a chorus, and that's just like yes.
And the
So
episode shows Ruby, now a young woman in
Ruby,
2023.
a very adorable young woman.
Yes. Um, Part of this project where it helps people who they refer to as foundlings find their parentage through blood tests. And
And things keep kind of going wrong around Ruby for the last. She says it's been happening the last couple of days.
yeah,
Like just
and it's like kind of like bad luck, and it just kind of
yeah,
happens throughout the weeks. And like, well,
yeah.
while she calls it bad luck, the show shows us, the audience, that it's not just that; it's something else.
You see little gremlin hands messing with stuff.
Yes, and as it keeps happening, you start to notice that the doctor is always kind of nearby wherever Ruby is, kind of making sure she's not too hurt. Like how that snowman fell in the middle of the street, and he used his awesome sonic to make the light green so the taxi would go and she wouldn't be harmed.
Yeah. Okay. Speaking of the Sonic, I've seen some Discord on the internet. Like they don't like the way Sonic looks
Yeah, because it looks
because
more like a remote now instead of just a stick.
you know what? Whatever. Okay, it looks awesome and it has cool Gallifreyan symbols that actually, according to
Yeah,
Shooty, spell out a Rwandan saying.
yeah,
'Cause he's
it's awesome. I
Rwandan.
don't know why people have such a big problem with it. It's not supposed to look like a real screwdriver. It's not a real
I mean,
screwdriver. It's a device.
I'm gonna get a replica of that once those come out.
Heck yeah.
Oh yeah.
But that being said, it follows Ruby throughout her life, leading up to the Christmas Eve of this year, and
Her birthday.
yeah, her birthday, and
19th birthday, I believe. He says.
maybe I have to go back and listen to that again. But she comes home with groceries to see her neighbors, Mrs. Flood and Abdul, arguing over this big blue TARDIS that somehow or police box, excuse me, that somehow
Mhm.
managed to end up on their sidewalk. And I mean, we know it's a TARDIS, but you know. And Ruby, but thanks to those little gremlins, drops the eggs, and she's like, "Oh crud!" and has to take them inside. And her adopted mother, Carla, tells
Wonderful woman, lovely woman.
absolutely wonderful woman tells her that they're getting a baby, which means because she's a foster mom, she fosters babies, and she happened to adopt Ruby, and so they're getting another one on Christmas Eve. And I love they were saying like they should have a Christmassy name like Carol or something like that, and then the baby's name ends up being Lulu Bell, and they're like, "What a terrible name!"
Screw you, the baby's cute.
And hey, I've heard worse names, and also Carla's mom, Cherry. Oh, she's so great.
I love, cause she's like, I don't know if she's Jamaican, but she's Caribbean in some way, and she's like, "Me want a cup of tea," and she's like, "No cup of tea in this house for want or money."
Yeah, she keeps asking for tea and she can't get it for yeah, and so uh, because they need to get more eggs and things for the baby because the family just kind of up and left. Carla goes to the shops to go get it and leaves Ruby to take care of Lulabelle.
Before that, Ruby gets a call.
No, this is after that. This is right when it happens. Yeah, she gets a call from the people who are running that program that's saying that they can't find any trace of her parents, absolutely nowhere, nothing. And of course, just, breaks your heart. But, she honestly handles it pretty well in that moment.
She powers on.
Yeah.
She's awesome like that.
And then that lady, I don't remember her name, she's like, have you been having bad luck recently? And, we've seen Ruby just, tripping over stuff and, hitting stuff and dropping stuff. This lady's in a wheelchair with a leg cast and an arm cast. And she's like, I got trampled by a moose. I fell off a boat on dry land. And we're like, dadgum, she's going through a whole lot worse.
Yeah.
And we see those little gremlin hands again messing with the Christmas tree right next to her. It falls, in her general direction. We don't see what happens, but we assume she's,
From the angle of the star, she either got shanked or shivved through the neck or through the forehead.
I think she was dead. And when Ruby hangs up, she hears the baby monitor go off and these little gremlins laughing, and one of them goes,
"Happy birthday!"
And then she goes back to the room where Lulabelle was in, and discovers Lulabelle is gone.
No.
And sees this ladder up the top of the window on the roof. She goes up it, finds these little, they're goblins.
Oh my god, I'm on the roof!
And what are you doing? Did you just hiss at me? Was that a hiss?
Oh god, I love that woman.
And so they take Lulabelle up the ladder in the sky, and
she's rushing after it.
Yeah, and Ruby grabs it.
What the hell are you doing?
Yeah, what'd you do that for? Who sees a ladder and just
ladder
pops
in the sky and thinks, oh, I'm gonna give that a go, babes.
So he jumps on with her, introduces himself. I'm the doctor, Ruby Sunday, and
today's Sunday.
And he puts on these gloves that are supposed to hold weight and pressure and everything.
Take all the weight for you so that you don't have to, so that your arms don't get tired.
Yeah, and I also just continuity. I love that he says all the weight and pressure and mavity is in the glove. They're still saying mavity.
That's either gonna be a thing for the rest of the series, or they're gonna fix it in the next episode or something.
This is the thing. I feel like if they're gonna keep it a constant, then every time they write a script, they're gonna have to be like, okay, did we use the word gravity anywhere in the script? Because if we did, we need to change it. Which I would imagine would get tedious after a while. They're probably gonna fix it. But anyway, they go up to the goblin ship. They find them. They tie them up in a room, and the doctor's trying to explain the situation to Ruby. He's like, you were born on Christmas Eve, and she was born on Christmas Eve. Yeah, it's a coincidence. That's what makes the baby so tasty. It draws them in, and
kind of gave me this whole thing about goblins eating children. Kind of gave me a labyrinth vibe, even though I've never actually seen labyrinth.
That's pretty close. And he explains how they ride the waves of time to make this kind of stuff happen. And she says, so they're like time travelers. They're not time travelers. Excuse me. Time travelers are great. The best. Wow.
Fucking Shooty Gatway. Oh my, he's amazing. I love him so much.
So he pries them out of the rope. He's trying to learn how the rope works because it's their mechanics. And she's like, could you give me a hand? He's like, I'm learning the vocabulary of
language of rope.
And so he manages to trip open the door with the rope. And by the way, this is just a personal thing, but when he runs on all fours, his ass sticks straight up, and it looks so funny.
Oh yeah, well he didn't have a lot of space. No, he had a lot
I
of
know, but it just looks funny. And so they're crawling through the supposed air duct system of this wooden ship, and they see the baby on a conveyor belt while the goblins are singing about how they're going to eat it. Which, I gotta admit, for a song that's about baby eating, it's kind of catchy.
Yeah.
And then they see the Goblin King, which is this giant thing, which is like a cross between Jabba the Hutt and Shrek.
Yeah, Uta, don't care.
Eat the baby. And so Ruby and the doctor fall out in front of him, and he's like, hello, I'm the doctor, nice to meet you, and I just wanted to say, why stop singing? Kick it, Janice! And then they start singing along while he's distracting them. He's cutting loose the rope, and he reverses the gloves so that way the weight gets heavy. So they fall through the ship and leave with Lulabelle. And all seems well. And then they get back to Ruby's apartment. Carla comes back just in the nick of time as they're trying to goblin-proof the apartment.
Jerry keeps asking for a cup of tea.
Yeah. And the doctor notices Carla's fridge with all the babies she's fostered over the years. 33 to be exact. And he's like, "You've got the biggest family in the world." And then Ruby asks him, "What about you? Where's your family?" He's like, "Oh, I don't have anyone." Like that line hurt, man. I don't have anyone. Ugh. And then they're talking to Carla, and they keep bringing up coincidences and how like, "Oh nope, don't say that." And then the ceiling of the apartment starts cracking, and the window's broken open, and Doctor's looking around, making sure everything's okay. And Carla's freaking out because cool air is coming in. And he's like, "It's okay, we can explain everything to you. How about we tell you a Christmas story? How's that sound, Ruby?" And no response. Ruby? Ruby's suddenly gone.
Yeah, like it was like she never existed.
Right, and...
Jerry, your granddaughter, she's called Ruby. Never been a baby in this house. Never been so nice.
Yeah. Hey, bro, just real quick, are you from a good distance from your phone? Because I have a hard time hearing you right now.
No, I'm on my computer.
Wait, there you are. Okay.
I just filled my microphone.
Okay. And so he's talking to Carla, who's suddenly in like a sour mood.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't have any kids, mate. It is for money. The boss came on Christmas Eve, ruined my day, something like that.
I was gonna have a Christmas all by myself, and then this little brat came along. Why would I want a family when I'm all happy? And the doctor's like, "Then why are you crying?"
You crying?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Why are you? And then the doctor realizes what happened. The goblin went back to take Ruby instead of Lulubelle, so he goes back in time to get the jump on them. And I love that when he leaves in the TARDIS, Mrs. Flood sees it, and she's like, "What?"
Well,
and he goes back to the day that Ruby was left on the doorstep of that church, and sees the goblins taking her, and he yanks down that ship so hard with the gloves that the top of the spire of the church pierces through the goblin.
The Goblin King.
And
I was literally like fatality because that's what it reminded me.
That was pretty
of,
brutal.
Huge. It was
and
no
somehow,
blood, but still pretty fucking
it somehow
brutal.
gets rid of all of them, which I guess they're all tied to the king. I don't know.
I mean, okay, so not that I'm a master of time travel physics. You have to call Miguel O'Hara for that one. But what I see it was that was like the goblin, like that was like okay. So they went back in time. So they're the goblins of the present, right?
Sure.
And when they pierced the king, he died. I don't know. It's wibbly wobbly timey wimey stuff.
I honestly think it's just like they're all tied to the king. So if he goes, they all go.
Yeah.
And so
Hive mind.
Right. Exactly. So Ruby is safe. Doctor puts her back on this doorstep where she belongs, and goes back to the present to see everything's just fine. And he goes back in time again to save what's her name from getting stabbed by the tree.
Yeah.
And when he comes back, he's just kind of looking at the apartment, and Mrs. Flood's like, "What's wrong?" Like, "I'm just wondering if I'm the bad luck." And he goes back in the TARDIS, and then Ruby starts to put it together. Like, he said time travel and Houdini. Houdini was like early 1900s, wasn't it? And
oh yeah, because he mentioned I spent a long hot summer with Houdini.
And so she goes rushing out to find him, sees the TARDIS, and thus beginning a new adventure with the Doctor and his companion.
Which I was super excited to see, but we had to wait. Like, it's still not out. It's not out till next week. So this came out in December. We had to wait 5 months for this shit.
Yes. And
also, Mrs. Flo looked straight at the camera and went, "What? Never seen a TARDIS before."
Yeah, there's something,
so
there's
now,
something going on with Miss Flood. There's something about her.
Yeah, there's something about her. Flood. See, flood, water, river, water, pond, water.
I think that's a little convoluted. I could be wrong.
Maybe, but
I could be wrong.
Doctor Who is convoluted. So
I know. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe you're right, but I don't know if it's. I don't know.
Maybe,
I don't know if she's River.
Or maybe she's the master who picked up
maybe.
The toy maker. I don't know.
Maybe. No, you mean picked
we'll
up,
see.
You mean. No, because she didn't pick up the toy maker. She picked up the master in that little tooth. So you're thinking she's the person from the last special who picked up the tooth.
Yes.
Maybe. I mean, we'll see. I mean, I have nothing. I don't have any idea. I don't have any theories, anything. I'm just curious. But that is where that special ends, and this new series, Doctor Who, that's going to come out next week, is supposed to follow from that. We will review it episode by episode because a Doctor Who episode on average is an hour long. So I feel like that.
And we will also be talking about it on our Doctor Who podcast with some of our friends. Who's on first?
Well, I don't know if I don't know if we'll be talking about these episodes because remember
Eventually we will.
Well, yeah, that'll take a long time. But right now we're only on series 2 with David Tennant.
Right, but didn't Austin say that he was gonna do like it's not a record. He's not gonna record it, but he's gonna have like a live chat thing after every episode.
He said 2 hours after the episode airs, which you and I will both be at work when that happens. So,
oh well.
Yeah.
So if you want to check that out, you can always check Who's on First on Spotify.
Yep, Who's on First. That's a podcast that no one just explained. We basically, the idea was that we wanted to go back to the beginning of New Who with Christopher Eccleston as the 9th Doctor and review those episodes one by one through that way. And it's a great podcast. You should give it a listen. Austin's a great host. He's hilarious.
Yeah, we have many a fun time on that podcast.
Indeed we do. We just wrapped up series 1 with Christopher Eccleston, and we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of David Tennant's first series with Rose whenever we start doing those ones. But yeah, thank you for watching, and we will see you later.